Hello everyone, I am Triconator, you may call me Trico, and welcome to my hotel. On today's schedule we have for you Leaders and Dragons, understanding your character stats. Let's get started. So if any of you have ever played Dungeons and Dragons or any video game at all, you know that your character stats are one of the most important things that you need to understand in order to play the game successfully. That is why as a leader, this is going to be a very special video for you to watch. So in Dungeons and Dragons, you have 6 main stats that you need to know and handle so that you are able to play the game. Without this, it's literally impossible for even Dungeon Master to understand how successful will you be on certain tasks. So 3 of them are not going to be that important to us because of the type of focus I want to have on this video and because of the limited amount of time that I have, which are Strength, Dexterity, and Constitution. These 3 might be important for Dungeons & Dragons, we'll just store them for now. Now the ones I want to focus are the 3 that are going to be immediately important for your business, which are Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. So what do I mean by all these 3? That you might not think, well, I am a manager and I have done interviews for all my life. I've never asked for wisdom or charisma. What are these things you're throwing on me? Well, actually, you are asking for them, but you may not be aware. So hopefully this will make you throw some new insight and light to the things that you're already doing. Let's start with the simplest one because it's one of the most archaic, when it comes to what do you ask when you're recruiting for someone, and it's intelligence. Right? Being a psychologist myself, I've been applying a lot of psychometric assessments just to make sure that people are between a certain standard when it comes to the IQ, right? The intelligence quotient, the coefficient, which pretty much says how fast you're able to learn new tasks, how many things you already know. But not only that, you are usually trying to verify intelligence through the degrees that this person already has. Is he graduated from the university? Does he have a major in something? Do you need any specific requirements so that you're able to get people in here? In Dungeons and Dragons, that would be equivalent of, oh, you found a magical staff. Are the members of your party able to use this? Translate that into the business environment. That would be, well, I need someone who can understand how to do data project management or some sort of IT performance or tech issues, etc., etc. You might need certain degrees that require certain level of intelligence. So this one you already know, you know it exists and you're trying to measure. It's important because it tells you, well, how much can you really throw to this person? And that is very important whether you're hiring or you're trying to understand yourself. The second one is wisdom. Wisdom is a little bit trickier because you might not see yourself as a serious professional if you're asking, hey, HR, can you make sure that the people you hire have wisdom? How do you? Well, you do. Whenever you ask for experience, whenever you're trying to hire someone, that is literally the same thing. It's wisdom, it's experience. It is one of the knowledge that you won't be able to get it just because you went to a seminar, because you went to university. No. The wisdom you acquire by just trial and error and having seen certain situations happen, you are now better at perceiving them, just like in Dungeons and Dragons, or at having insight that would add to your business. How do you see the same information as someone else, but you can see how certain things relate with each other, how they work as part of a system. That is why wisdom becomes very important. It's the experience, and wisdom will save your business a lot of money. Because if you have someone who has already made a lot of mistakes before in a similar position, that is wisdom. Now that person can go and work in your team and will let you know of the pitfalls that await you if you do not have this. So it's important for you to kind of gauge and measure what's the experience level of your team. What's your own experience level? Are you mature enough to know that there are some things that even though you think you understand, you've never lived yourself? Well, that is why a experience of someone who has 5 years managing the position that you already want to hire is always going to be so much more attractive than someone who might have all the requirements on the university but doesn't have any practice on it. And the last one is charisma. Oh, do I love charisma? Mwah. Charisma is such a nice attribute in Dungeons and Dragons. And it is also very useful in real life. But people, oh, this one, a lot of people just goes right over their head. So it's important that you're in this video to realize how charisma changes your business. Well, charisma, you can just, the easiest way I can explain it to you is, well, you can have a salesman. And this salesman might have studied in the university what selling techniques there are. And he might even have 3 years of experience as a salesman. And whenever you try to hire them, you might see, well, no, this is not working because you have them there and they're just not able to handle the stress. They're not able to handle people. People always change. It doesn't matter how much time you've been working, people will keep on surprising you time and time and time again. So how do you work with charisma, and what is charisma? Well, charisma becomes the ability to persuade other people, to kind of have your influence over them. And that's actually one of the other videos I'm planning to do, so I won't go too much on the influence side of it. But it's very important for you, whoever you are that are watching this video, you need to have or try yourself at improvisation, at a performance, at persuasion, a little bit of intimidation and deception. You might need to have all those techniques that make you good with other people, become likable. That is a skill that cannot be underestimated, because if you know how to make people tick, how to get them to become whatever you need them to, then you became such a great leader, not only because you're inspiring them or because you have the title, but because you know how to motivate your team. You know how to persuade them, how to get them anxious, how to get them, oh, like, I want to do this. That is what a salesman does. Their will and charisma allows them, not because of intelligence or experience, but charisma alone, to get people done, to get money rolling. And whichever company you work in, I can assure you, sales skills are important, even if you're not selling anything, because that is how you can gain collaboration from your coworkers, from your company, or from your customers. And that is why the most interesting characters in Dungeons and Dragons always have either a lot of charisma or try to make a lot of charisma rolls very often. I myself, I'm a huge fan of bards, paladins, warlocks, sorcerers, all of these magical things. They happen through charisma, because Dungeons and Dragons realize that the ability to move the heart of your people is just too powerful when you're creative with it. So since you're the leader, then you need to kind of gauge all the stats that I just described to you within your team, and then take decisions, tactical decisions on how do you manage your pieces. So if you know that someone is very smart, has a lot of intelligence, right, and might have the experience but doesn't have the charisma, then put this person in a position where they're not going to be managing people that close, and then you'll have someone who's very effective. Because let's be real, the people you hire are going to have a lot of different strengths, but are you aware of the strengths they bring to your team? Have you really spent time to understand, okay, I have 6 people and I see that only one of them has charisma? Well, I'm sorry, that doesn't sound that great, but you're going to have to manage your team to put that person in sales in a position until you are able to develop those skills on the rest. But developing or building allies is actually going to be the 3rd video on this series, and I'm going to leave that for later on. For this one, just remember, you yourself are victim to the 6 stats of Dungeons and Dragons. But the 3 that I spoke about today, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, can change your life. So pay a lot of attention on how they reflect on your own. Try to meditate on that, but also pay a lot of attention on how they affect your team. And if you disagree with me, then maybe that's just exactly what I want. So that's going to be the end of this video for today. Thank you a lot for listening to me. If you are This is something new that I'm building, but I'm feeling more confident the more I record. And hopefully you can leave a like, you can subscribe, you can give me some comments so I can think about this. I've always wanted to discuss this information with people, but do it in a fun and interactive way. And I think YouTube might actually be the place where I finally do so. So thank you for supporting me and keep on rolling. That was a lousy way to end that video. Take care.